The biggest news bomb ever just happened before a reporter quit his job. He said Houston wants to trade for Kevin Durant. What? No wonder he quit. That is crazy. First of all, the Rockets have young players. KD is like an old basketball player. And also, didn't they learn anything from the Suns? Durant won't help your team win a championship anymore. But the reporter was right. The Rockets get Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick, and 5 second-round picks. But wow, that's really cheap. Yeah, the Suns got the number 10 pick back, but Houston kept the best Suns picks from 2027 and 29. This changes everything. I know one guy who loves it is Kevin Durant. Look at him and his agent's reaction when they thought nobody was watching. So, how did this happen? Well, it's hard to believe because of all these rumors lately, but KD was basically untouchable just a few months ago. The Suns have been trying to trade Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler, but then out of nowhere, they went behind KD's back and tried to deal him to Golden State. But once Durant heard about that, he stopped it. And the guy tried to be like, oh, it just wasn't the right time. But we all know he just didn't want to play with Draymond Green again. But then he was officially available to trade. So why did Phoenix even want to get rid of KD? Is he causing trouble in the locker room? Was he acting like a diva? No. It's because their owner made bad decisions that forced them into some big move. And Durant was the only player with value that they were willing to trade. Like when Matt Ishbia bought the Suns, he immediately wanted to make a big splash. So they traded Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and control of 5 first-round picks for Kevin Durant. My goodness, what a terrible decision. And reports said it was the new owner who forced them to trade that much. Then he goes and gets Bradley Beal with a no-trade clause. And before you know it, they're as completely messed up as a team can get. They go from NBA Finals in 2021 and then second round, get KD, lose in the second round again, get Bradley Beal, and get swept in the first round. It's like the more else they get on their team, the worse they actually get. Oh, but last season they were the most expensive team of all time, and they missed the playoffs. This team is so messed up, but that's a whole other video. I mean, they got none of their own picks back in this trade when Houston had their picks. What a terrible return. And we will see why it took so little to get KD in a second. But one big reason was KD had control of where he ended up, right? Like, this wasn't like when the Blazers traded Dame where they had to take the best offer because Durant only had 1 year left on his contract. So when the Timberwolves, for example, stepped up, KD said, no, sorry, I'm not going there. So a report said that Anthony Edwards loved KD and they were willing to trade either Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle plus Naz Reid, Rob Dillingham, and the number 17 pick. But Durant stopped it, and you are not going to trade all of that stuff for 1 year of Kevin Durant when he is telling you, I will not So his final wish list was the Spurs, Rockets, and the Miami Heat. Now, one report said that KD preferred San Antonio with Wemby, but the Spurs didn't bite. Why? A connected reporter, Doan Harris, says San Antonio did not believe KD was enough. Wemby is just 21 years old, and NBA players' best years are 25 to 32. So if KD wasn't going to win a championship in the next 3 years, then what's the point? You're just going to spend all these valuable assets for a guy who gets you to the second round. So they were out. And what about Miami? They just lost Jimmy Butler. They need a star. Well, Shams reports they refuse to include anything. I mean, they said no to Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, the number 20 pick, or any other draft assets. What do they expect to trade for KD? Dwayne Wade's ugly statue? I mean, these NBA teams do not think of KD as an elite NBA player anymore. But are they right? Can Durant make Houston a real contender in the West? Well, let's look at what kind of player Kevin Durant even is at 37 years old. This year, he scored 27 points per game, right on his career average. He had just 1 rebound, fewer than normal, same assists, but even more efficient, 5 years after an Achilles injury. What are these NBA teams thinking? Well, his age is actually showing in 2 key areas, and you can't see it in those numbers, but his defense isn't close to what it used to be. And he doesn't get to the basket much anymore. And that might not sound like a big deal, but it makes his game more one-dimensional, and it results in fewer free throws, which happen to come in handy late in big games. Still, the dude is one of the best shot makers to ever live, and it turns out that's exactly what the Rockets were missing. Houston just got the number 2 seed last year with a young core built around Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson, and Fred VanVleet running point. Their superpower in the regular season was defense. Houston was the number 5 defense in the NBA, but an average offense at number 12. So, how is their style of basketball going to be affected here? Well, Jalen Green is now a Sun. He's a former number 2 overall pick, but the kid just never developed a consistent offensive game. Like, he could go off for 40 one night and then have 2 or 3 games in single digits. I mean, Coach Imud, who's like a huge stickler for defense, used to bench Jalen Green for bad defense. And in the playoffs, when they needed him the most, he disappeared. Kid had 38 points in a game to win, but averaged 9 points outside of that. And this is a dude on the floor for his offense. I mean, 8 points in a game, 7 for a team that had James Harden for 8.5 years. They've seen that movie before, so Phoenix might tell themselves that they got a potential future all-star, but I'll believe it when I see it. Now, losing Dillon Brooks hurts because he was a decent 3-and-D player, but the Rockets' secret weapon was the Terror Twins, Amen Thompson and Tari Eason. They are still on the team and just entering their primes. So, yes, on paper, this was actually a great move for the Rockets in terms of fit and what they sent out. They traded 2 players who aren't even a part of their core, a bunch of seconds, and the number 10 pick. They didn't even have to give the Suns their own picks back outside of number 10. And number 10 pick, they didn't even have minutes for the number 3 pick last year. Reed Shepherd. So what were they going to do with the number 10 pick? Now, I was against them dealing major assets with Giannis potentially still out there, but this was not some big package. This was much less than anybody dreamed. So if another young star does become available down the line, Houston can still jump on it. But I also kind of love this trade for Kevin Durant. I mean, not only is he tight with the coach Hamudoka from their days in Brooklyn together, but the fit is almost perfect, right? Like KD is now surrounded by good defenders and the ball is in his hands to close games without question. There's not some young dude who's jealous on this team that he's not getting the last shot. Last season proved that they needed a clutch shot maker And yeah, you love Giannis' age and talent level, but one reason he wasn't a perfect fit was the Rockets' shooting. They are one of the worst three-point teams in the league. Not a concern with KD, though. In fact, he's the solution, and as a number 2, Alperen Sengun is no doubt now with Jalen Green out of the way. And we saw a big leap offensively from Amen Thompson last year. So if he's their number 3 on offense, I don't hate it. Now, my one complaint is, who is this team's leader? Because you need that for a championship. We know that's not KD's thing, but the answer is going to have to be coach. I'm Udoka, which isn't normal in the NBA, but it can happen if the coach is the right guy. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is now the Thunder, the Nuggets, and Houston battling for best in the West. But what does this mean for you? I mean, we thought that Houston was all in on him, but maybe they got some inside information that the Greek Freak is staying in Milwaukee. So something really weird just happened with the Giannis trade. And I broke it all down right here.